You're listening to the Waypoint TV Podcast Network, brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors.
What's your favorite hunting tradition? Is it the thrill of the early morning, the sound of the woods coming alive? My personal favorite, the smell as the seasons change. Who was it that first took you out on your first hunt? Maybe it was your dad, a grandparent, a good friend. Hunting season is more than just a time of year. You know this. It's a way of life passed down through generations. And now it is finally here. Whether you're heading out for the first time or for the 50th, Academy Sports and Outdoors has everything you need to gear up for the field and do it for less. Find the ammo, shotguns, and rifles that fit your hunting style. Grab game cameras and camo to ensure you're fully prepared. All from the brands you trust, all in one place. Text HUNT24, that's HUNT24, to 22369. Again, 22369 to take $20 off your $100 purchase when you shop hunting supplies at academy.com. And if you need a hunting license, pick it up in store while you're shopping. It's just one more way Academy Sports and Outdoors makes hunting season easier.
This episode is brought to you by United Airlines. When you want to make the most of your vacation, book with United. They're an airline that cares about your travels as much as you do. United is transforming the flying experience with Bluetooth connectivity, screens, power at every seat, and bigger overhead bins to help fit everyone's bag. And with their app, you can skip the bag check line, get live updates, and more. Change the way you fly. Book your next trip today at united.com.
Hey everyone, this is Captain Steve Roger from Into the Blue TV. And as soon as I feel a little break from this heat, I know that hunting season's upon us. Actually, the first time I ever went hunting, a buddy took me. Wasn't my father or my grandfather. In fact, I took my father on his very first hunt. Well, Academy Sports and Outdoor Stores has everything to gear up for the field for less. Plus, you can shop a wide selection of ammo, shotguns, deer corn, rifle, feeder, game cameras, camo, and more from the brands you trust. Text HUNT24 to 22369 to take $20 off a $100 purchase when you shop hunting supplies at academy.com. Need a hunting license? Pick it up in store while you're shopping.
Welcome back yet another week here on the Outdoor Job Podcast. This is episode 270. We are in the heart of the rut here in New England. Super excited. There is things dying, but we take the break from the rut here in deer season to talk about an absolute massive, massive bear that was shot in New Jersey, record-breaking as far as New Jersey's goes, and actually the highest weight world record-wise. Supposedly, we're waiting on some officials there. But this is your boy East Coast Trev, and I'm joined with the madman himself. What's up, brother?
What is up?
Dude. This is going to be a fun podcast. The story is just by far one of the greatest. Super excited. Brian is just a hell of a guy. Timber life outdoors. So super cool, man. But how's the hunting season been for you?
It's been pretty good, buddy.
It's
pretty
been
good.
tough.
This is the time of the year that there's a short window. You know, the season's long, right? September to December, but there's a little bitty piece right in the middle there that I live for, and we are in it right now.
Think of this. So this is kind of crazy to even think about. When we podcasted last time, we were both like kind of skeptical, kind of like on the fence, really not sure how the season was going, what we were going to put together, so on and so forth. You had already killed one deer, but now there's bloodshed everywhere, and things have just gone off the hook in weeks, like just a totally different bear. No pun intended.
No pun intended. Yeah, I mean, I don't worry. I don't stress it, man, because I know I don't know, dude. I want to say I've been doing this long enough, right? Like I know how the season unfolds. I just know how it goes, right? And like, you know, it happens every year. You get real gung ho. September 15th, let's go. Oh, we're getting into October, middle of October. Oh, end of October. Oh, beginning. It's like patience.
So you mean that you haven't been hunting for 20 years and only killed 3 deer?
No, I don't think so.
No.
Not quite. But you know what I'm saying, right? Like, I'm not saying I'm not guilty of it. There's definitely times in the early season where like you want it to happen and you want it to happen, and like maybe you're not getting into the deer, you're not seeing the deer you want, and like you get frustrated, and you start questioning like, what am I doing wrong, or what do I need to do, what do I need to change? But I'm patient enough to know where it's like, just relax, dude, relax, because the time is coming. And I don't shy away from it. I know where I make my money, and I make my money, right now, right? And I was talking to somebody the other day, like, you can't argue. You start talking historical dates: November 6th, November 7th, November 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, right? Great days for deer activity. Great days. If you had told me I have to pick one day, I could only hunt one day out of the year, you have to shoot a buck, you get one day to choose, no weather, moon, anything like that, just pick a calendar date, I'm taking November 15th. November 15th. Now,
I would say the same. November. I was literally, as you were rattling it off, I was going to say November 15th.
Now, with that being said, go plus or minus 5 days either way.
Agreed.
You're talking 10th through the 20th. Dude, that's what it all comes down to, right there.
I think
if we get to Thanksgiving and I haven't shot a buck or something like that, you might see your boy panic a little bit. But
it's funny is I had a conversation. I was on the phone with Corey from Latitude the other day. I'm just calling him. We have some real crazy things going in motions here behind the scenes of the outdoor drive, and those will break out here after deer season. But we haven't had time to even think about it. But I had a meeting with Corey from Latitude, and we were talking, and he had a really good season early, whatever. And I was congratulating him. We were talking, and then he was asking about me, and I said, the bow's come off the hanger a couple of times. The grind is on. Steve's got a real nice buck down. I said, it's there, and he's like, don't sleep on the last couple weeks in November, dude. He says, this week now is one not to sleep on. Don't sleep on it. Everybody wants to hunt the first and second week of November, but don't sleep on the third and fourth. I mean, like, that's those satellite bucks, right? I mean, there's a lot of bucks cruising, going from different beddings and different areas, and things just kind of heat up. And I mean, don't ever sleep on the last 2 weeks.
Right. And what I think, and I'm no expert, dude, right? Like it's what I
just
think.
From experience, right? I mean, it's not
experience, and I could be wrong. It's my observation and my theories and whatever, right? But like, everybody wants to be in the woods, including myself, November 4, 5,
right.
7, 8. And that's like the start of the rut, right?
Yeah.
Like, no doe is an estrus maybe yet. So the bucks they're trying to find like what does first in estrus. And that's when you could have, I had probably my best day ever in the woods in my life last year, November 6th. I saw 9 different bucks from the tree before 9:30 in the morning. 4 shooters. One of them was my target buck. That's November 6th.
Yeah, but the weather was different.
Yeah. I'm just saying his historical calendar dates, right? With no variables. That's the start, right? So, like, of course you want to be in a tree 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, because you don't want to miss anything, right? But what I find is, as you get once that first doe pops and she's bred, and now all the does are popped, and say half are bred. Now those buck, there's no lockdown. There's no buck like sitting with a doe for an extended period of time. They're just breeding and moving, breeding and moving, breeding and moving. So that's when I see the most cruising, the most bucks moving. There's no reason for them to stay anywhere for a long time. And they're just going from doe bedding to doe bedding to doe bedding to doe bedding to doe bedding. And that's where the magic happens, man. Like, in my opinion,
it is
like,
where
I go back on my personal historical dates, and you always remember days that you kill big bucks, right? And like, my biggest was November 2nd, right? But dude, I've killed a lot of deer, 15, 17, 20, 21. It's just more bucks on their feet, and they're spending less time with one doe in one spot.
Because she's not giving it up, and she's not there on to the next one.
Or she just gives it up.
Oh.
There's no way she ain't playing hard to get anymore. She gives it up,
It's
and
the
he's
rep.
like, "Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am." You know,
Next.
cabs here.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Cabs here.
Where's the Uber?
She's DTF. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Down to go fishing. No.
But yeah, man, I just live for this time of the year, man, and like it's everybody's killing, man. You know what I mean? If
Some good deer too.
one tonight, someone else is killing one tomorrow night, and then the next, and then the next, and it's just like texts are flying. You know, it's killers corners are coming in. It's just like, dude, this is it. This is the time of the year.
The team's up to $5 for 3 of us, so things are definitely good. There's no questions about that. It's like turkey season all over again.
Yes.
And so, do you want to go through the killer's corners first, or you want to end on the killer's corner? You want to make them wait? Want to make them wait? Drum roll.
It don't matter. You make the call, but what do you want? Sponsors.
All right.
Okay.
So we are title sponsored and brought to you by Bowtech. Refuse to follow. Guys, don't miss out. Listen, we're about to drop a very good podcast about the upcoming things of Bowtech here on the 26th, either the afternoon or the 27th. But we're going to drop it and make sure to tune in on that. Refuse to follow. Bowtech, if you haven't shot one, go and shoot one. A whole entire line. The Pier Archery Group in itself, black gold sights, center mass, stabilizers, and all the other great things, tight spot quivers. Make sure to check those guys out. We are also brought to you by Huntworth. Get more for less with Huntworth. Now's the time to get some of your heat boost. It's right around the corner. And not only that, guys, there is a Black Friday sale right now, 40% off. It's the most that they give off on all of their hunting supplies. So if you guys haven't already, get on over there and get yourself some Huntworth. At least try a piece. I promise you, you won't regret it. If I could get one piece for this time of year and on, is going to be the new Heat Boost hoodie would be my number one.
Yeah.
The Grayland hoodie. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
I love that thing, but I don't think that would be my number one right now.
What do you think?
Elkins bibs.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking just the heat boost like that go to and the cold,
right? Because it's usually
or the vest.
Usually, like if I'm getting in the stand tomorrow morning, I'm probably wearing my Elkins bibs with my Grayling hoodie.
Yeah. Well, that or you can't knock on the vest. I'm a big vest guy, so that's definitely one of those pieces of the puzzle. So make sure to get on Huntworth, huntworthgear.com, and get yours now. Latitude Outdoors. If you guys are mobile hunters, you guys want something new to pack in light, usability, make sure to get on over to Latitude. The Carbon SS sticks, probably one of the best sticks on the market. It comes with AM Steel 8ers.
That's the best part right
Dude,
there. You gotta go no third-party shit. You just get it right there from Latitude.
That's right. No have to mess around with nobody. Get it right on latitudeoutdoors.com. Make sure you use the promo code OutdoorDrive on that one. Save yourself a little bit. I promise it's totally worth it. And it's those all-day sits where you can sit in that Lone Star all day long. Probably one of the best, most comfortable saddles on the market. Hands down. So some really cool stuff. They've changed some colors, backpacks, Ranger backpacks. So go and check them out. Get on over to latitudeoutdoors.com and make sure to use that promo code OutdoorDrive. WCB, Working Class Bow Hunter. Working class for your ass.
I was just going to say that.
Working class bow hunter. I miss saying that, to be honest with you. Guys, WCB, the homies over there, absolute, that love. Get on over to their merch. Use the Outdoor Drive promo, Outdoor Drive, and save yourself some. If you guys don't have a really cool hat or some of the really cool merch, the deer hunting, can't kill bucks if your wife sucks. Some good stuff, some good shirts, good T-shirts, good hats. And
I'm wearing my my Stay Real one out right now.
Oof, there's a ton of really good stuff. I love we're both wearing working class hats. I wear them all the time. The kill caps. They have for you guys that are wearing Huntworth, they have a Huntworth kill cap. But make sure to get on over there, workingclassbowhunter.com, and use the promo code OutdoorDrive. And also, a huge shout out to them. Congratulations on Kill Bottle whiskey. I cannot wait for mine. We've
I
killed.
ordered one too.
You did order one. Yeah.
I ordered 2.
You ordered 2?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna have to order another one. Well, we just need one to like not open, maybe. So, go and check that out, guys. Kill Bottle Whiskey, just for that tailgate to celebrate. For the tailgate to celebrate. Yeah, that's what it is. The Kill Bottle Whiskey.
Tell some tales on the tailgate.
That's right. Also, Fourth Arrow Camera Arms, fourtharrowcameraarms.com. All you need for you guys trying to get into filming or already in filming, some really cool stuff over there. The tripods, the second arm as far as like the stabilizers for your tree stands, inside the blind, second angle camera stuff. They now have come out with one for your bow. That's a MagSafe magnet. So a lot of cool stuff over there, fourtharrowcameraarms.com. Saddies Fatties. Guys, if you guys haven't seen, Saddies Fatties now has an official website. So you can get on to Saddies Fatties and order all of your needs from turkey loads, coyote loads to waterfowl loads, everything right online. So huge congratulations to Aaron, and thanks for your support. We appreciate it. And make sure to get on to either make sure to subscribe to our YouTube. If you're listening on iTunes, hit a pause right now, get on over there and give us a 5-star review. We greatly appreciate it. And always tell your friends about the Outdoor Drive to kind of spread the love. We got some really cool things coming, so make sure to stay tuned for that. And I think that's about it, man. And let's do a Killer's Corner. We want to talk some good stuff.
Well, like I said before, it is that time of the year. So remember, sometimes I have to like separate it like only 10 at a time.
Are we getting to that point?
We're close. All right, we got Don Stevens punched his Kentucky tag for the 4th year in a row. Andrew Patterson took a break from deer and got his first pheasant.
Congratulations.
We got Kaysen Carpenter.
Killer Kaysen.
Absolute stud. That was the
public
land during the youth season.
Congratulations, Kaysen.
I actually met them at the gas station. I got to see that thing in real life. Well, this is all over the place because I just put them in order as they come in. Also, excuse me, happy birthday, Stephen Carpenter. He had a birthday last week, I think it was. Then I have Stephen Carpenter again because Kaysen actually let him go kill a deer.
He killed a good one. He killed a real one.
An absolute stud. So they got a little in-house family, banter and competition going there.
Could you imagine the taxidermy bill in that house with Kaysen living there?
No. Did you see what showed up on Kaysen's doorstep the other day?
No, I didn't.
You got some new carbon sticks.
Whoa.
Steven said he saved his own money up and put in an order with Latitude.
I hope he used a promo code.
I'm sure he did. We got Jeremy McGillicuddy. Good buck. On a nice buck. Seth Edwards put down a good buck. Jake Parker with his first mature buck.
I want to take a pause there for a second. So Jake Parker, I'll tell you what, I met him a couple of years ago. We hunt one of the same public lands. I was in there preseason scouting, early season, and it was funny as I haven't been there in quite some time. And that year, I had gone in there to just put a camera. I had a dream in the middle of the night. I know this is weird, and I know we're getting off topic real quick, but I'm going to go down this rabbit hole. So I had a dream about this oak flat that I had seen as a kid and remember there being an old tree stand in there. And I said, I got to go in there and put a camera and just see what's going on in there. It's an edge of an edge. And so anyways, I was in there and I was running this creek bottom. And I see this kid walking. And I'm like, dude, that ain't a walker. That's a hunter. So I hollered to him. I said, hey, what are you doing in here? He goes, I'm scouting. I just got into hunting. I'm new to it. I just got a bow. I think he got it at like a tag sale or something,
what
right?
What time of year was this? Not to cut you off.
Oh,
Summer scout?
August, July,
Yeah.
August. Yeah, early. And he's like, I'm Jacob. And I was like, oh, man. I said, cool. I said, keep in contact with me. I told him about the podcast or whatever I had. Well, this dude is now turned into a savage, like absolute killer. Killed a ton of deer, hunting on public land. He killed this one buck that his first mature buck. He said he was going to hold off for a mature buck and not just kill anything. He killed it from the ground.
Really?
Which is, so he killed it from the ground. He was sitting in the ground, and he went to go take a piss, and he hears this thing running at him. He turns around, and the thing's running at him, and he ends up smoking it right in the chest. And it's a great buck. Super great buck.
Dick out?
Huh?
Is he still holding his dick?
I don't know. I didn't ask. I didn't ask the story. I was in the
That
deer stand.
answers the age-old question, though, if you should piss out of your tree stand or piss in a bottle or hold it, or
It's sure.
I let it fly, dude. I don't care.
Oh yeah, dude. I've got it down to a science pissing out of a saddle, dude. I love it. It's my
How do you
favorite
do
thing. You just you lift your leg like a dog. You know, you just kind of go to one side and you just kind of lift your leg off and just.
Yeah, I kind of turn sideways. So I'll put my right foot will be sideways on the platform, and my left foot's like not even on the platform.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same. It's funny is I killed my biggest buck to date. I killed out of a saddle, out of a tree, all day sitting for 2 days, and I pissed out of the tree probably 20 fucking times, and I still killed that deer. So if they say don't piss out of the tree, it's a lie, because I piss out of the tree a lot and never had a problem.
I had a deer come in the other day. It was like 2-year-old 8-pointer, decent buck. Like I thought about it, but no, right? Comes right in, reads the script, comes in, walks by me at 20 yards, walks right by my scrape, and freaking beds down 30 yards from me. So I got this little 2-year-old 8-pointer bedded down 30 yards from me. I got to piss. Jesus. I'm letting it fly, dude. I pissed out of the stand while that deer was bedded 30 yards away.
Oh my God! And had no problems.
No problems.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Anyway, so
any more?
Little inside tip in the middle of the Killer's Corner. How to piss out of a saddle. Mike Salter, Vermont. They had some fun up there in the Vermont camp. They had first time. They've had 2 bucks down in camp at the same time, and I think that's his 4th in 5 years or
wow. That's awesome.
Like that.
Third, 4th. Yeah, congratulations. Yeah. Northern Vermont's no joke, man.
Yeah. Who else we got here? We got Trev Berwick. Congratulations to you there in the Killer's Corner.
And, I made Killer's Corner, man.
You made the Killer's Corner, buddy. Whoa. And then we got a late scratch in here right before the podcast. Yours truly, the Madman, made the Killer's Corner. So.
We got a podcast coming for that one down the pipe, so keep tuned out for that. We're going to get on with the show. We're going to get Brian on the line.
Yeah, just avoid last names at all costs.
I always do. It's Melvin, but it's Brian Melvin. But anyways, we're going to get him.
A couple of weeks ago, you were like, on the line today, we've got Kurt. Kurt from Working Class. Yeah.
I never said I was good at this. I just said I do it, right? So, well, let's get Brian on the line, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
Let's go kill more deer.
Yeah, we know you can kill more. The Outdoor Drive Podcast. We have Brian from Timber Life Outdoors joining us tonight. What's up, Brian? How are you?
Hey, guys. I really appreciate you having me.
Hey, thanks for jumping on with us. I know that you've probably been quietly, bombarded with the request to join people on podcasts after you've done such an incredible thing, honestly.
It's been a little nutty, a little something different for me. Definitely not my norm, but I'm taking it in stride, doing the best I can.
Yeah, it's probably overbearing. People reaching out, asking questions, and all that other stuff. We'll get into that throughout the podcast. But
sounds good.
Why don't we turn the key, man? We'll just kick it right into 4-wheel drive. Why don't you tell everybody who you are, where you're from, and a little bit about what you do?
Yeah. So from New Jersey, been hunting now for pretty much half of my life. Started hunting around 10 years old, got into bird hunting when I was younger and kind of parlayed into some big game stuff later in life. In my early 20s, got into some bow hunting for deer and then transitioned into everything else, anything else that moved I wanted to chase. To bring me to today, obviously why I'm here with this bear and the rest of that hunting. The bear hunting kind of kicked in about 7 years ago. I'm sure we'll get more into depth of that. But the original starting of everything was definitely chasing some big whitetails with the bow, and fell in love with bow hunting. It's been, I guess, part of my identity at this point. Now everything I'm doing has got a bow involved in it outside of waterfowl. And anything that's moving in Jersey, I'm trying to chase it.
That's awesome. So you started hunting later in life then? It wasn't something that you had done from the get-go, right from the start?
Yeah, no. I come from a non-hunting family. Everyone in my family plays golf and sports. And I was the odd man out. I got hooked up with a gym teacher, actually, in my fifth grade gym teacher who had an outdoor program. Fell in love with his dogs, and he took them bird hunting. That was my gateway drug into the hunting world. And from that point forward, started bird hunting. And then when I was basically old enough to do it on my own and get my own gear, got into bow hunting and had to learn on the run. I had no one to bounce anything off of. I didn't have any mentors at home or in the family. I had to screw up a lot and just try and figure things out. Obviously, today's world with YouTube and podcasts, there's a ton of resources out there. It was a little bit different about 25 years ago.
Right.
But it was boots on the ground, and I feel like I'm a better hunter for it a little bit because I had to struggle. But it was definitely a transition for not having a lot of people to bounce things off of. If you come from a hunting family, you have an incredible resource, and be glad to have it.
Now, like in growing up in New Jersey, and a lot of people, we have listeners across the board, right? But like growing up in New Jersey was probably a little bit tougher, anyways, to hunt because it's we live in blue states it's kind of like frowned upon and whatnot, so you kind of got to keep it under the radar.
100%. I think if you're going to hunt New Jersey, one tool that you really should have in your tool belt from early on, if you can figure it out, is A, how to talk to people, and B, how to present yourself in a positive light. Because a lot of people, if you're going to hunt New Jersey, you're going to try and pick up some private land. There's plenty of public, but if you want some really good land, a lot of it has to do with some private properties. You're going to knock on a lot of doors. What I had to do for that bear was knocking on a ton of doors over the almost 3 years of getting private properties, bouncing around trying to find that animal. And I wouldn't have been able to do it if I couldn't, either articulate or present myself in a positive manner, that I wasn't just some bum that was coming to shoot something in their backyard, right? That's something you run into a lot in New Jersey. Guys are trying to knock on doors constantly, and I find that sometimes they just kind of go about it the wrong way, or maybe just didn't take that extra step to go home and change their dirty jeans or something, or not show up at 6 o'clock when everyone's sitting down for dinner. Like, have a little plan together and try to put your best foot forward, but it separates yourself.
Is it a lot of suburban hunting?
There's a lot of suburban hunting. Definitely doing probably 50-50. A lot of the bigger, I'm not going to say all the bigger bears, but a lot of them have to do with some of the not so big woods. A lot of the big woods get hit pretty hard with a lot of the drives and a lot of the big clubs. So a lot of the bigger bears and a lot of bigger deers are definitely in smaller tracks that you might even drive right past. I mean, the bear, and we'll get into it, but that bear that was in a very small tract of land that most people would drive by 100 times and never even.
What were you saying, Steve, before? Sorry, I cut you off.
I was just interested in the whole tactics of knocking on doors, and like we all know, change your clothes, put on something, don't look like a bum. But run us through mostly I'm most interested in like, how do you start the conversation? Like, typically.
Usually I'll start the conversation. Well, I'll try and look at the area. So I'll be honest with you. If I'm going to go and talk to somebody, I'm going to do some research. I'm going to get their name off their tax maps. I'm going to try and check socials. I'm going to see if there's any trigger points that I could talk to them about right there, or see if I might open up some socials and be like, oh, okay, that's the wrong one. It's not going to happen, right away. Save myself some time, try and be a little efficient. After that, once I get to the door, it's going to be kind of play the game a little bit. Like you said, blue states, people don't necessarily either love hunting or maybe not know about it, and try to educate them a little bit of why I'm there. If I'm there for a deer management hunt, or if I'm there to, help out the bear population, whatever. Don't start off with just saying, hey, I'm there to kill everything. Obviously not the right way to go. Come at it in a little bit of a softer means and kind of approach them with kid gloves and see where it goes. Sometimes the doors will open right up. Yeah, absolutely. Come on, let's go. And then sometimes it's a little bit more finesse.
I think
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up during inflation, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold! Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes per detail.
Want to shop Walmart Black Friday deals first? Walmart Plus members get early access to our hottest deals. Join now and get 50% off a 1-year annual membership. Shop Black Friday deals first with Walmart Plus. See terms at walmartplus.com.
This year, Santa's bringing the power of Energizer into his workshop.
Whoa, the Energizer Bunny's got so much power.
Wait, he's powered up all the toys. I think that means we're done for the year.
I love this bunny.
He's the hardest working helper the North Pole has ever seen. And he wants all your gifts to have the power of the #1 longest lasting AA battery. So this holiday season, stock up on Santa's and the elves' favorite battery, Energizer Ultimate Lithium.
And there is an art to it, because I think that a lot of people come there with the wrong manner, the wrong tone, and they kind of, oh, hey, I just saw that big buck in your backyard. Can I come and kill it? Like, that's really not the way to go about it. And I think that, like you said, and a very valid point that you just said, is a lot of people just aren't educated on it. So educating them in the right manner, like, hi, my name is so-and-so. I'm a conservationist and I want to hunt. Exactly. I hunt a certain type of deer. It's not that I'm here to kill everything. I just want to shoot the mature deer. You have to educate them in that manner, because a lot of them.
And another big thing is, I've talked about this a few times now, but I have hunting business cards that have all my personal information. I have all my insurance information. And when you present yourself and hand it to them, like, listen, here's all my information. You know everything you need to know about me right now. You have everything you can get. I'm fully covered in insurance. I'll put your property on insurance coverage as well if we want to get to that point. And just trying to give them a warm and fuzzy that I'm separating myself from the other guy that knocked on the door and just was like, yeah, I'm just looking to sit in your backyard.
So when you talk about that and the insurance, I know we're kind of going on this crazy tangent, but that's okay. That's right. I think this is a good topic that doesn't really get talked about a lot, and I think it's something really cool, and I think it probably leads into the bear hunt, right? So
yeah, it does.
So one of the things you just brought up is about insurance. So is there anything in the state of New Jersey that kind of like our state, for example, and I guess I'll kind of elaborate on this on the question, is our state, when you sign a form, like, we have to have written permission. When you sign that form, it literally states that by signing this, you are relieved of any all liability. All liability. Does New Jersey do the same thing or no?
No, you can get written permission, but there's no form to do it. So a lot of guys in New Jersey use the New Jersey Federation of Sportsmen, and it's only like $40, and it covers you up to $1 million. Covers the sportsman, covers the hunter. It's great. Now, there's a little bit different animal where if you pick up a big tract of land, or you pick up a honey hole or whatever, and you want to give them another piece of paper, you can go out and get separate insurance for that actual piece of property that's listed as a block number, so forth and so forth. That gets a little bit more detailed. It's a little more expensive, but again, what's it worth to you, right? I mean, what's $150 to lock up 400 acres? I mean, okay,
it's worth it. Yeah.
Exactly. Or even 6 acres in the right town with the right transition areas and stuff, whatever it may be.
I spend that in Little Debbie's in a season. I mean, what's that?
Yep. Exactly. But those are the conversations that I kind of open up right away. Gets the wheel spinning. They're totally going to be covered. There's not going to be any issues if I fall out of a tree or anything happens. It has nothing to do with them. It's on me, and we're good.
That's cool. And what was the name of that insurance company that they use? What is it? The Sportsman?
New Jersey Federation of Sportsmen is the first one, and the second one, I knew you were going to ask me that.
Sorry.
I forgot the second one.
It's all good.
Yeah.
I just wonder if they have something here, because I think that would be, Steve, I'd go and get it just to present it to landowners. Like, hey, I'm insured.
It's the American Hunting Lease Association. That's the one that you can list your individual properties. I think it's like $220 or $240 or something like that.
Wow.
That one's probably more nationwide than just New Jersey, huh?
The what? Say that?
That one's probably nationwide, not just New Jersey.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. It's definitely nationwide. Again, it's a little more expensive, a little more in depth, but they both. I carry them both if I have to, and it's helped me out a lot.
That's awesome. Well, so the reason that we brought you here was to talk about this world record weight bear, but also this New Jersey new record. So why don't you kick it into, bring us all the way from the beginning, when you first saw the bear, where it started, and kind of take us through the whole entire journey.
You got it. All right. So we are 3 years ago, and I am scouting late season, running some cameras in the area that I ended up harvesting the bear in the general area. He showed up on the camera. Immediately knew. I mean, at that point, he was already in the sevens. Maybe he was. Yeah, he was probably in the sevens. I think he was above 650 at that point. And I immediately knew he was a giant. Started talking to people in the area. Started talking to the neighbors. Again, this bear did not live in giant woods. I had scouted a ton of pieces that were giant woods, big state lands, small lands. He always happened to stick around the houses. These very nice. It's a nice affluent area, really nice houses. But in that area, there's these swamps that are pockets all over the place, and he would jump from swamp to swamp to swamp to swamp to swamp. So again, I found him late season. I knew he was in the general area after I talked to some of the neighbors. Like, oh yeah, he's been here for years. He's a problem. He shreds all the furniture in the backyard. He destroys jacuzzi covers. He's chasing dogs. I've heard he's killed dogs, but I never got a confirmation on that. I know he has chased people back on their deck. Every single person that I talked to in that area was like, please get him. Please get him. Please get him. And that helped me get some properties later on too, because as soon as I talked to them about the bear that had the big scar on his leg, they're like, "Oh my God, yeah, no, he's terrifying." I'm like, okay, so that was always a good talk. But so 3 years, found him on cameras, got in the area. Fast forward to the beginning, or 6 weeks to 8 weeks before last season, when I really ramped up and tried to dial in that area, got him back on camera where I had originally found him earlier that season, and was able to really dial him in pretty quick. I was kind of shocked. He was, he's a big bear, and everyone talks about, they're hard to pattern and stuff. And I was like, man, this is a slam dunk. I got this. And then I didn't. And then I was wrong, because he did what big bears do, and he just disappeared on me for no reason whatsoever and jumped almost a mile away. Found him again, did the same thing again, and he toyed with me for about 6 weeks. He jumped 3 times on me, and he would daylight for multiple hours, sit on the bait in the middle of the day, sleep on the bait. I mean, there was nothing that he was showing me that I was spooking him until we got about 3 weeks in towards the season. Like, he was watching the calendar. It was driving me nuts. Then he started getting a little funky on me. If I walked on his trails too much, or if I didn't bait the right times, or if I didn't clean up bait sites, he would just disappear. He would just up and just vanish on me, and I'd have to go find him over and over and over again. Had finally found him 4 days before the season. He was on pattern again all the way up until the opening morning. 6:30 a.m. opening morning. He was sleeping on the bait. I watched him walk off. He'd always walk away in the morning, and he'd come back either in the middle of the day or right before, like half an hour before last night. My plan was to let him walk away and then get back in the stand and sit there until he came back with the right wind. Well, he left at 6:30, and he didn't come back until May. And yeah, gone. Absolutely gone. I later found out that he had done that to multiple guys over like a 6-year period before I was even involved with him. So guys had known him. He had this scar. He had a little bit of a limp to him. He was 700 pounds or whatever he was at the time, or 800 pounds. And there was you knew him right away. He was totally distinguishable. So now it turned into a little bit of an obsession a lot of an obsession for me. And I was like, all right, I gotta know where this bear is. May, got him back on camera. He only stayed in that same area again for like 2 weeks or a week, and he vanished on me again. I went into, Rambo mode and basically ran almost 20 different satellite baits in the area, going, just jumping between 500 and 1,000 yards to almost a mile every time, just trying to find out where he had located, where he jumped to. Checked every swamp, checked every patch of woods, big, small. Finally found him at the end of the summer in the piece that I completely overlooked, because it was like 6 to 8 acres. It is on 2 extremely busy roads, and it's just like, there's no way he's right there. It's surrounded by houses. It's not happening. I was wrong again. And I found him, and I got permission on a larger piece that was across the road. I knew he was coming out of the smaller piece, living in it, because it was this gnarly swamp that you couldn't even get into. I mean, even if you crawled, you probably couldn't get into it. It was just bad. From the road to the edge of the swamp was about 40 to 50 yards through the timber, and then it was just nasty swamp, and he was living in there. But he was transitioning to this other piece that was across one of the roads, a bigger chunk, about 30 acres. I was able to acquire permission there simply by having a very candid conversation with the owner, saying, hey, listen, I'm a local bear hunter in the area. I've been chasing this specific bear. She's like, oh my God, he's in my backyard all the time. I can't stand him. He scares the hell out of us, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, okay, well, I might be able to help you with that one. And then it parlayed into, obviously permission. And I started transitioning into patterning him, trying to get him patterned onto the bigger property. Of course, it's New Jersey. I had guys that were baiting him on the other side of the property on a smaller piece. That turned into a little bit of a drama fest, but we're not going to get too crazy into that. But they weren't doing necessarily anything wrong at that time. They were just they were baiting their area. I was baiting my area. So I knew that I had to give him something or some reason to stay in my spot and not go to the other guys. One was, even though he was transitioned to the 30 acres, the bigger swamp, he never spent time in that swamp outside of hitting the bait. He'd hit the bait and then he'd just disappear. He would walk almost 400 yards from his bait, from his bed to the bait and back in the same steps. Once I figured that out and got that with a net of cameras, figured out exactly what trail he was using, what days he was moving, what winds he was moving, and what winds he wasn't, because he would never come into the bait if the wind wasn't perfect. There was roads on either side of the property. If he couldn't get around the bait on the wrong wind, he wouldn't show up for 2 days or whatever it was. So the plan was get him comfortable in a tight bait, and it's just something different that a lot of guys don't necessarily do. And I've been talking to a bunch of people and they're kind of surprised that I did it, but a lot of guys bait in areas that they are comfortable in instead of baiting in areas that bears are comfortable in, right? In New Jersey, we can't hunt over bait. We have to be 100 yards or more away from our bait. So you cannot sit over your baits, but still guys will put bait in an area that's either A, easier to get to, or B, they think they have better vision of it and they can see it, right? Now, if you're gun hunting, it changes the game a little bit because you want to be in open timbers, you have a shot. I was bow hunting, so I knew doesn't matter. I have no shot no matter where that bait is, so I might as well put it in a spot that makes it easier for him and makes him comfortable to stay there for long periods of time. So I put it in a tight little cave-ish type underbrush that he loved to sit in, and he would sit there for hours. But I also knew that I only had one chance. He was only on one pattern, and that was coming from across the street on certain winds and certain days. I also knew that if I went into that small piece and tried to find out exactly where he was, bedding, where exactly his bed was, there was a good chance that he would do what he did to me for the years past, and he would just vanish on me if I started walking his trail or bumping in there. So I did not do that. I scouted from the road, used the binoculars, tried to determine exactly where he was going. I was able to find his trail perfectly in that piece of woods. The one piece that I could not put together was, where was I going to go set up in there? Because I couldn't put out shooting lanes. I couldn't really pick a tree, I could pick a general area, but I didn't know exactly until I got in there. So the plan was wait for the season to start, keep him on pattern, keep him baited properly with some baiting tactics, which we can get into after this, and plan to see him on the bait and try and get behind him on that transition path back to bed. He would only give me daylight time in the morning, never in the afternoon. So he would show up, 5:30 in the morning, sit on the bait till 6:30, 6:45, and then walk back to bed at 7 o'clock or whatever it was. And there was like a 15 to 30 minute window, and that was it. That was all he would give me. So I knew that was my only shot. So that was the plan. And that's exactly what we did. We waited for that morning, Monday morning, the season, of course, the 5 days before was northwest wind. It was exactly what I needed. It was beautiful. I was like, oh my God, he's staying on pattern. I could literally set my clock to it. And then, of course, Monday was a stiff southwest wind. It was terrible.
Never fails.
Never fails. So I did not hunt on Monday. As much as I wanted to, I knew there's no way I could get into that patch without him totally just having the wind blow right at him. So they always say the big bears are tough. Big bucks are tough, but they're 5-6 years old, right? Big bears, we're talking 15, maybe 20 years old. Like, they've seen some stuff. They know what's up. You're not going to fool them too many times. So I knew it had to be almost a one and done. Waited for him to be on the bait. That Tuesday morning, we got our northwest wind again. I needed a 10-mile-an-hour wind or more because I had a little bit of a hill behind me and I didn't want the thermals. I needed to break the thermals and push it back up the hill. It was the perfect scenario for Tuesday morning. Waited for him to come off or get to the bait. Once he got on the bait, I jumped into the small patch that was across the street, and I stayed upwind or downwind of his trail to make sure I didn't give him any reason to not feel comfortable. Got into the woods, but now it's 4:30 in the morning, and now I got to pick a tree and pick out shooting lanes in 30 minutes and get set up. So I'm in there, I'm climbing up on my climber, and I get high, and I realize I'm too high. I'm in a swamp, so I'm above the canopy, but I'm in the top canopy. I'm like, all right, this is no good. Had to come back down to like 10 feet. And that's not comfortable. I was like, this is a one and done. He's either going to bust me or I'm going to get a shot off beforehand. But I'm in here, so we're going to do it. So I got settled in. I'm watching the camera. I'm like, just an absolute addiction, hitting the button every 2 minutes, like 30 seconds. Like, okay, he's still there, he's still there, still there, still there. And 6:52, which I posted a picture of, was the last picture I got of him turning and walking off the bait. And I about maybe a minute and a half later, he got to the edge of the property. Saw him stare down the road, checking for cars, making sure nothing was coming. He actually looked and then waited to I mean, I'll never know, but that he was listening for cars, and then nothing, and he just walked across the road. I saw him come, like, oh, this might happen. This might actually happen. Wind was perfect. There was absolutely not even a swirl at my back, nothing. I'm like, all right, I'm already standing. I got the bow in my hand. Game on. He's walking down the trail. It's going to be 22 yards on my left side. Perfect. I got a 45-degree angle from my stand. Literally, like, I've done this a million times on other animals. This is just another animal, slightly larger. He's walking down the trail. He gets 35 yards from me and completely puts the brakes on and stops dead. I was like, oh, what the? Again, it probably was only a minute, but as we all say, it felt like 30 minutes, and I was dying. And he didn't even look. He didn't even move his head. He literally just stopped completely still, like he was waiting for something to make a mistake. And I was like, there's no way that he knows I'm here. But he knew. He absolutely knew. And I swear I've shot some pretty good deer in my life and shot some pretty good bears. I know how to play wind. This wind was perfect. And he still knew. I don't know how. I'll never know, but it was super, super interesting to watch. He turned on a 90-degree angle and walked away from me.
Jeez.
So I'm like, okay. So I see the trail that he's kind of hooking around to, and he's kind of angling back a little bit now. And I have two windows, and they're only about 1.5 feet, one at 45 and one at about 60. So I'm like, all right. The other thing is, I didn't want to stop him, because I've tried to stop bears before, and they bolt. They don't stop as well as sometimes as a deer does, right? For whatever reason, he got to 45, and I was already drawn, and he just hesitated for a half a second. And I slipped it in there at 45 yards, quartering away. And I was expecting the quintessential bolt and take off. Didn't happen. I was like, no way I missed. Like, I could see the blood pumping out. Now, I have had doubt with this bear like entire 3 years, right? Every time he made me look like a fool, every time I did something, I second guessed it. I'm like, is that the right bear? Did I just shoot the wrong spot? Like, what's going on? But I saw the blood pumping out. He leaves the patch of woods because, again, it wasn't very big. He goes right out to another road, crosses the road. I'm watching the blood pump onto the road. I'm like, oh, all right, we're in good shape here. This is good. But he makes it. I'm watching him go. He makes it out of sight over 100 yards, goes up a rock bluff, and goes up a hill. I'm like, there's no way. Get out of the stand, meet up with my best friend. We're looking at the road. It looks like someone carried a freaking paint can across the road. We're going through the brush. Now I knew he went that way and went up the hill, but I never saw him come back down, and I never saw him go farther up. So he was somewhere in between. We got up top, and there he was. He was bedded. He was still alive, but he was bedded and he couldn't move. And I'll tell you, you'll get the details in a second, but put another arrow in him. He got up another 40 yards, 50 yards, and he expired right there, and he wasn't going anywhere. Later on, I found out the first shot took out one lung and clipped the second. And obviously on a big bear like that, they can tote that pretty good. I mean, it hit both lungs, but it didn't center punch the second lung. So I don't know. But the amount of blood that came out, I think any three of us would have been toes up in like 30 yards. It was ridiculous. So we got to the top of the hill once the second shot was there, and he was expired. He expired on a very steep incline where there was actually a road that came right around the steep incline. So I was able to back the truck right to the hill, and we were able, me and one other guy, nobody believes me. I wouldn't believe it, right? We're talking a 900-pound bear. We were able to roll him into this giant sled that my buddy bought for bear hunting, and literally use gravity to slide him down into my tailgate. I wish someone would have filmed it, because it was like, it's unbelievable. It doesn't make sense. I totally agree, but I swear it's what happened. The property owner it was all private property. That property owner was amazing. I got super lucky that he ended up on that property. He was from Alberta. He was a really cool guy. He was all about bear hunting, no problem. We got the bear out. Now the question came, do I gut him or don't I gut him? I turned around and was like, it's going to be 60 degrees in like an hour. and we have an hour or more till the check-in station. I remember I shot him around 7 o'clock in the morning. So we got a little bit of time before the check-in station opens up. In New Jersey, you have to check in all your bears. They take DNA samples, they weigh the bears and so forth. The state has all their details. So if you've bear hunted or shot any big bears, you know that they spoil fast, way faster than a deer, right? They just cook. They're pressure cookers. So it was a no-brainer. I'm not into it to waste any meat. We got him back to my buddy's house. We got him hoisted up. We got him gutted. That's where it got difficult. Getting him out of the truck and getting him back into the truck took 7 or 8 guys. And it was, I wish that was filmed too, because it was comical, because it wasn't easy with that amount of guys. We were a complete mess. But we got him gutted out. We got his chest cavity, everything opened up and aired out, nice and cooled in the shade, and everything was great. We got to the check station, and exactly what I thought when I got to the check station, it turned into a little bit of a circus, right? It was pictures, and this is awesome, but which is fantastic, and I am super happy that it all worked out positive. But again, if I had not gutted him, and I had either just gone straight to the check station or waited for it, there's no doubt in my mind I would have lost a complete animal, and that would have exasperated what came later. All right. So the week to follow was a bit interesting, and it got a little nutty with people that either don't understand the bear hunt or allow emotions to kind of run their lives, if you will.
Right.
And it got a little crazy.
So taking it back, you had said that all of the landowners wanted the bear dead. So they wanted him off of the property anyways. So a lot of that negativity wasn't coming from the locals there. Where was it all coming from?
People. Sorry, go ahead.
Just Facebook. Just miserable people locally too, and
no, not really. Anyone that is, I can almost guarantee, was nobody that lives with bears.
Really?
Right? That's just anyone that deals with the bears. I have yet to have somebody in that area go, "Oh no, we love having the bears." No. That hasn't happened to me. I'm not saying they don't exist. I'm sure there's somebody, but that has not been in my opinion. The Facebook stuff, I got pretty thick skin. I'm Irish, my family, we got some tough love, right? But the social media stuff didn't bother me so much. I can deal with some meshes I can ignore a lot. I got some, personal calls. They got my number. They found out where family members lived and where people worked, and I'm all for it. I'm a big advocate of having your own opinion and being able to voice it. I'm all for that. We should all be able to talk and have conversations about things we don't agree upon, right? We can learn from everybody. Where you lose me is where you tell me that you would rather have me or my family get harmed to make yourself feel better. Then I'm done. So that's where it was no good.
Yeah, and what's funny is that, whether it's a bear, a lion, a big deer, you see it all the time with people that are like, they have death threats and all this crazy stuff. Oh, we should kill you instead and hang you up and blah. But for what? Like, I don't understand. I guess they just don't understand the sport, or they don't understand like a lot of the reason why we have these animals is because people like you and I that pay for these lands and conservation and reintroducing these animals to these areas. Like, people just don't understand. They just don't get it.
No. They really don't. And, try and have those conversations with them. Sometimes, again, that you can't, and they let their emotion get in front of their logic, which, whatever, that's their problem.
Right.
Well, how many years ago was it when, because that whole bear hunt in New Jersey,
I was going to say the same,
is basically like a quota hunt, right? As soon as you hit a certain amount of tags filled, they shut it right down.
Correct.
And it was just, 3-4 years ago where the new governor came in and said he was going to get rid of the bear hunt.
Yep.
And then, within one season, he was like, "Oh shit, we got to have the bear hunt again," because it was getting control in one season.
It went up like 200%. Bear encounters went up. I don't know the exact number, but it was over 200%. And it was like, guys, it's just pure math. Like, you just can't have it. We got to control it. We're only allowed to shoot one bear per guy, right? It's a week long in October. It's a week long in December. Be honest with you, it's not doing it. It's not controlling anything. I was running 6 sites. I had over 24 cubs, not talking adult bears, just cubs. If you did adult bears, the number gets crazy. And with the new rules, you can't.
Hey, it's Kaylee Cuoco for Priceline. Ready to go to your happy place for a happy price? Well, why didn't you say so? Just download the Priceline app right now and save up to 60% on hotels. So whether it's Cousin Kevin's Kazoo Concert in Kansas City, go Kevin, or Becky's Bachelorette Bash in Bermuda, you never have to miss a trip ever again. So download the Priceline app today. Your savings are waiting. Go to your happy place for a happy price with Priceline's Black Friday sale. Save now and travel later with our best deals of the year.
Go to your happy price, Priceline.
This episode is brought to you by Netflix. From the co-director of Shrek and the visionary behind Toy Story comes Spellbound, a magical new animated adventure starring Rachel Zegler, John Lithgow, Jennifer Lewis, Nathan Lane, and Titus Burgess with Javier Bardem and Nicole Kidman. When a powerful spell turns her parents into monsters, Princess Elian must journey into the wild to reverse the curse before it's too late. Watch Spellbound, only on Netflix November 22nd.
The holiday season officially starts when you get that first card in the mail. Shutterfly makes it easy to add more meaning to the everyday with hundreds of holiday card designs that can be personalized in seconds with your favorite photos from this year. Select your greeting, customize the color, and even add little extras like personalized foil to make a holiday card that really shines. Enjoy 40% off with code SMILE40 at Shutterfly.com and send something meaningful this year. See site for more details.
Shoot cubs, which I'm not saying I want to, but you can't shoot cubs and you can't shoot sows that have cubs. So you just protected the baby factor.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's it. It gets a little nutty. It does. And the fact that the sows are having 4 or 5 cubs. I had multiple sows with 4 or 5 cubs. And they're all surviving. That's not the way it's supposed to work. They're supposed to have 4 cubs, maybe 2 survive.
Mm-hmm.
And life goes on. That's not the way it's working, though. They're everywhere.
We have some friends from New Jersey, and one of them was sending me pictures of literally sows with 5, 6 cubs, and they would all be alive. They would all be fine. It's like unheard of. Biologically,
yeah. You talk to biologists from anywhere else in North America, and they go, "It's not the way it's supposed to work.
It's impossible.
It doesn't happen anywhere else." I don't know what it is. We have a lot of food. We have big mass crops. We have a lot of people. We have good woods. We have a lot of positives for them. We have a lot of waters with fish and all kinds of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's what it is. I don't know. There's someone way smarter than me that could probably answer the question. So
they also get all that urban food too, that garbage cans and
it's big
donuts dumpsters and Dairy Queens and all that other shit too, right? Sometimes they don't get that big eating nuts and berries.
That's so true. They know where the food sources are. That's why the big guys kind of stay close to the houses because they got it on a schedule. They know garbage week, and they know every day that it goes out, and they do their rounds. I've seen it with my own eyes. It's comical, and it's also ridiculous.
We're seeing the same thing here in Connecticut. We're seeing some bears that are, pushing 5s. I mean, and there's giant bears. They're all in suburban areas, urban areas. Yep. You can tell which guy, what families. Homes have kids because those are the first trash cans to be hit with diapers in them.
Diapers.
And so, yes. And
Gross.
they just rip things up. They're taking their trash cans and putting them on pulleys and trees, and they're still destroying them down. I mean, going into people's garages, and they won't give us a bear season. And it's like, if you guys can't, photo what is going on in New Jersey, we're going to see the same exact thing. And now we're starting to see them in areas that they've never been before. And it's just year after year after year, they just keep coming and coming and coming. It's wild.
It is wild. And you guys are going to do the exact same thing we did. And we're out of control now. Now I think we're past, if we continue on the trajectory that we are, and we're only allowed to shoot 1, it's going to get out of control again. If things continue with the sows and the cubs the way they are, the math just doesn't work.
And the thing is that they're not like normal bears. They're not North Woods bears. These are these just crazy 355-gallon drum bear. Like what you shot. I mean, not like what you shot, but smaller than that. And that 4s and 5s. You don't see bears in 4s and 5s.
We're passing 4s that are that's like a raccoon to us. We're just not. I mean, and I talk to guys from Maine and stuff like that, and a bunch of buddies, and they're like, you're passing 400s. What is wrong with you? I'm like, I got 6. I got 6 of them on my barrel. No, I'm not doing it.
I'm going back a few years, but I used to work for a construction company. We did ShopRite grocery stores, New York and New Jersey. And I was working in New Jersey at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I had my spring bear hunt coming up in Canada. So I was taking a week off. So everyone on the job site knew I wasn't going to be around next week because I'm going to Canada bear hunting. And they're like, why the hell are you going to Canada to bear hunt? And I'm like, this is what we do. My dad's been going forever. That's where we go. And they're like, up there, I mean, this is a spring bear hunt, big woods, 300 pounders, a trophy bear.
Yeah, it's a good
and they're like, dude, and they're showing me pictures of like 600 pounders.
Yeah, in their driveway.
Yeah, and I'm like, all right, you kind of make me feel like a fool now, but you know.
Yep. I've
Just
had a lot of those conversations. Absolutely.
So what kind of set you aside from everybody else with the type of bait that you were using to try and get him into your bait sites over everybody else's? Because obviously there's definitely some type of competition between everybody else. I mean, just like deer hunting with corn and whatever, to find something above and
I
beyond.
know. Yeah. He had hit other people's bait sites because other guys, the bear community is pretty small. I mean, it's not nearly like the deer community. A lot of guys that once they bear hunt once and they shoot their whatever bear, they're like, that's a lot of work. I'm done. I'm not doing that again, right? So the bear community kind of stays small that way, and I'm relatively new to it. There's guys that have been doing it for way longer than me, so I'm relatively new in that concept. There's guys that I've learned from every year that are doing it. So I do not consider myself. I'm just using this word. Do not associate it to myself an expert by anything. That is not me saying that. I am learning every day, right? So, but one thing I am is I'm super meticulous and slightly OCD. So when it comes to bait sites, I would be on a very strict baiting pattern. I would pretty much only bait in the middle of the days. I never bump bears. Big bears, which was early morning, late afternoon. I tried never to bump them off their patterns, and I also kept my bait sites extremely clean. A lot of guys don't do that. They'll run their 100 pounds or 200 pounds of donuts once or twice a week, and if you get a rain or big bears come in and they mush it all up, and it turns into a slop fest, and all of a sudden you're wondering why bears are only coming back every 2 or 3 days to check it. They're not wanting to get into it. It's nasty. It's either rotting or it's getting moldy or whatever, right? But no one wants to necessarily go in there and pull a black bags full, 2 full black bags out of moldy donuts. All right, but that's what separates it. The other big thing is keeping your baits, keeping them kind of guessing on your baits. The difference between big baits and textured baits. Like a lot of guys use donuts, right? It's always the talk of donuts. They love donuts. They love donuts. Donuts are great, but donuts are big. So if you have a lot of bears, they don't last long. The other thing is, if you have a lot of small bait, sometimes they get annoyed. Like if you have a corn, which is on the lower end, but if you have like a trail mix, my go-to was a custom blend trail mix, and I was picking up 1,200 pounds every 2 weeks, and I was going through a lot. But there's a guy, Kelsey Burgess, here in New Jersey, who runs a huge baiting operation, and you can get all kinds of custom baits made from him, and he orders these huge pallets and blah, 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 and he's phenomenal. He's got a wealth of knowledge, and he's got the best baits around by far. He helped me out with a mix that was, trail mix and nut proteins and some chocolates and peanut butter morsels and cookies and all kinds of different stuff. And, I've said this on a bunch of other talks and people pick it up on it. And I don't care about telling somebody that because they also have to run it. I was running 200-300 pounds of bait every day, every single day. Whether or not necessarily on his site, but the other sites that I was doing to keep all my sites going, it was an everyday, pretty much every day or every other day job. If I didn't do it, the bears would be, if I missed a day for something, I remember I had a wedding and I was annoyed because I knew I was going to be gone. And
season weddings, man,
killing me, right? And he actually disappeared for 3 days because I didn't have the bait fresh, and I was like. So then I was annoying as can be to my fiance, and I'm like, I'm not doing nothing until after bear season. Don't even look at me. Don't even talk to me. Like, we just have to get through this. And, but yeah, the two big things that I say are keeping your bait sites clean and keeping your baits differentiated, being between big baits and small baits. And you can change them up all you want. That's fine. And the other big thing is having your supply. A lot of guys start off really big and heavy. Like they got a ton of bait. And all of a sudden they're a week out from the season. They're like, oh, I don't have enough bait. And then they start getting sparse with it. And they're like, oh, I got to make this last, right? That doesn't work because the week before the season, at least in Jersey, there's baits that pop up everywhere. And if your bait is not staying where that bear or how that bear liked it to begin with, and you start getting light, it's just going to go to the guy, another a half a mile away or a mile away, whatever it was. I definitely think there was a little bit of, having found that small swamp that was right across from the big swamp, and I literally was a straight line. He didn't have to walk a curve at all, and I kept that bait right in line with him. He would come out, go straight over 350, 400 yards, turn around and walk the same path right back. It was super comfortable for him. He was super confident walking down that trail, and everything he needed was right there. The last thing I'll say about baits, in those trail mixes or proteins that you're going to add for like your texture baits, it goes a long way outside of making your baits last longer, and this sounds ridiculous, and I've said it on a couple of talks now, but bears are like humans. If we just ate donuts all day, we're probably going to be needing Depends, right? Like it's not going to go over too well.
Right.
They're the same way, and you could see they get upset. You could see their droppings change, and they have cow pies instead of formed poop. That nut protein or any other proteins you're going to give them firms them up, and I swear, I'm telling you right now, it helps them stay on a bait and not get like stomach aches. Me and Kelsey talked about it pretty in depth, and I saw a drastic difference in it when I kept that proteins up and helped them really stay regular, if you will, both on the bait and personally, and it seemed to help a lot.
Now, when you're running those baits, does time work out in that manner too? Because like you're saying, you're doing it religiously, like every day, every other day, and it's the same with like a deer bait. When you're running deer baits, you want to make sure to be there at 3:30 every day, or whatever the case may be. Is it the same in consistency when it comes to bears? Okay,
exactly the same. I was trying to run everything between 11 and 1:30.
So that those bears knew when they got up that food was definitely going to be there,
right?
And it just keeps them on more of a consistent trail.
Just trying to do. I knew I couldn't control other guys and what they were doing. All I could do was control me, and I wasn't going to give them a reason for me to be a reason for them to leave, right? So keep my baits clean, keep my baits fresh, keep my baits full, and not be in there when they want to be there. It's pretty much all I did outside of some little bit of scouting things and running cameras and picking the right areas.
Mm-hmm.
But that's probably another podcast in itself. But yeah, the baiting isn't complicated. It's really not. Some guys might not like what I'm about to say, but if you're going to bear hunt, you just can't be lazy, because it's a grind. It's brutal.
Well, I think that's hunting in general, right? Like hunting in general, if you want to get A+ success out of it, you need to do A+ work. Like you can go and hunt, right? Like anybody can go and hunt and kill things, right?
Yeah.
But when you want to succeed and hit that margin, you have to be able to put in the work, right? Like if you want to shoot 150s every year, you got to do 150 work. You're not doing spike horn work. Like that's just the way that it goes. It's figuring out winds, areas, so on and so forth. And I bet you that it's the same with a bear. I mean, that bear is 10 times smarter, like you said.
It is. It's exactly what you're saying. If you want to shoot a bear in New Jersey and go on a bear hunt, you can do it pretty easily.
Right.
A bear. You want to shoot a 500+, game changes drastically.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like shooting a trophy anywhere, right? I mean, like you have to put in that time, that effort, that work to be able to.
I feel like people outside of the bear hunting community think bears are dumb. I don't know why. And I've had this conversation all the time. They're like, oh, they're in people's backyards. They're walking down the driveways. Blah, blah, blah. All right, go hunt one. Go hunt a good one. And just tell me how humble you get. Because I got humbled multiple times. I probably always will. And it's great because you learn a ton from it. But the big bears are the hardest animals I've chased. And I've chased elk, and I chased a ton of deer, and chased some pretty good stuff. The big bears, man. They're fun, but they're tough.
I want to change the tables a little bit. Tell us a little bit about the Timber Life Outdoors and kind of what you're doing with Timber Life Outdoors. I know that it had came to fruition a little bit. It was before the bear hunt, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about it.
Timber Life came out of a love for the filming. So I got into filming about 7 or 8 years ago. And just the fact that I love bow hunting, I shot some great animals, and it was kind of like the next phase in my hunting career, if you will, where I really wanted to memorize, make memorable moments last for all those hunts on the videography concept. Got some decent gear, nothing crazy, and started getting into it and screwed up a ton. If you're going to film, you're going to lose animals, meaning you're not going to be able to shoot them, or you're going to spook them, or whatever you're going to do. It's going to happen. I don't care how you do it. It's a learning process, and it's going to happen. Just be prepared and just learn and work through it. But it started with that love, and then I got a little bit more into it. We do a lot of waterfowl hunting. I started filming some waterfowl hunts, turkey hunts, and everything. And it grew into where I started getting some notoriety with people with some of my videos, and people started asking me some questions. Got hooked up with some people in the industry, and they're like, you really should maybe dump some money into this and get some better gear, like the gear that you're making great stuff, but your gear is kind of I'm like, well, if I'm going to do this, I might as well do this. So I was like, all right, I'm going to make a brand. We're going to build a production up and dump the money into getting all the top end gear that we possibly can. We got socials up right now on Instagram and Facebook. We have a YouTube channel that's going to be out probably within a month and a half, and we'll have all those videos. Where they're in the editing phase right now. If I can get them out sooner, I will. I tagged out today for a permit bow in Jersey, so I'll have a little bit more time to edit. But it's coming. But yeah, it was basically born out of the concept of I love being behind the camera now. I enjoy shooting animals. Don't get me wrong. But my friends are pretty lucky, especially with my waterfowl buddies. I run the dog, I call, and I film, and they just have to shoot everything. So they're pushing hard for timber life right now. They're enjoying it. But yeah, it was definitely born out of my love for the filming side of it. It's just I think it's an art, and the guys that are really good at it, I take my hat off to them because it's a really challenging thing, but it's a lot of fun.
You have to live and die by it, right? So like you can't go in the woods without it. You can't say, "Oh, I don't want to bring it today." Yeah. It sits in the backpack. You make a spot for it, and it goes with you no matter what. You set it up every morning. You just do it, because if you don't, you get complacent with it. Then you're like, I'm not going to do it no more. And there's something about looking back on those hunts as in itself. It's not even like putting them out. I mean, there's a ton of them that we have on hard drives, and we're just like, meh, all right, cool. We'll put them out when they get there, but like we'll wait a year to put them out, you know. And it's
some of my best stuff is my buddies, and I have a bunch of great hunting buddies that I've learned from too, and I started doing the filming, and we'd go out, and I'm like, guys, I need an extra 15, 20 minutes to set up all my cameras. And they're like, oh, here's Melvin again with freaking cameras. All right, we're going to do. And then we'll get some great footage or an epic duck hunt, and I go home and I make a video and I send it out. And they're like, that was kind of cool. That was pretty cool.
That was worth it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, guys. So just please shut up. All right. I'm doing this because we all enjoy it, but you guys are busting my chops. But I mean, it's gotten better now. Now they're working into it, and they're all going to be part of the team, and we're having a blast with it. But you're 100% right. It is a commitment. If you're going to do it, you got to do it every time, and it's a lot of work, and you have to plan for it.
So did you get the bear hunt? Was the bear hunt on film, or was it no?
I wish it was, man. I wish it was. Unfortunately, with some things that were going on with the hunt and some last minute additions to some pressure, I had to go in light and tight and couldn't really make that happen. I really wish I did. I actually had my camera gear with me, and it was I had to leave it at the base of the tree, but it just was one of those situations. And honestly, with the way that the bear reacted and how it came off pattern, even if I had everything set up, I would not have gotten it. No, it wouldn't have happened. It definitely wouldn't.
And it's one of those things is like, it's either the animal or it's the camera. And when you're talking, that at the time you knew it was a record bear, right? New Jersey.
I mean, I thought he was like, I'll be honest, I thought he was in the high 7s. I didn't think he was, high 8s, almost 9, whatever. Just didn't. We knew he was big. There was no question. He was a monster. He was a bear that I had 3 years of history with, and we had interactions with him in the neighborhoods and all that stuff. So it was more than just like I wasn't chasing a record. I was after that specific bear. Right. I had that one in my mind. I had a bunch of other good bears, a couple 5s and 6s on other baits and stuff, and I was just on him. If someone else got him, I would have jumped. But I mean, then when he came through the woods, then you're like, oh, all right, that's a VW walking through the woods. Yeah. It's pretty big, but yeah, it was cool.
Did the biologist say how old that he actually was?
No, I don't. I don't have that information yet. They pulled a tooth. I will have it, but they have not given me a confirmation. I wanted to do it myself, but they have to go through the state. They put them all at the same time, so I won't have them for a few months.
Oh man.
Yeah, I know. I'm dying to know, man. He had missing canines. I'm getting the skull this week. He's got missing canines. He's got a broken canine. We'll see. I have no idea. One thing that I found out was when I picked up the meat, the butcher told me he had 22s in him. He bird shot. He had that scar that we saw was either from a bolt or an arrow down the side into his bone. So the dude had been shot with everything.
Jesus. Yeah. I was going to ask you if anyone knew where the scar on his leg came from.
Yeah, it was from an old arrow or bolt issue, because he said he could see the channel and it went right to his bone. And it was a massive scar. It was a 12-inch scar on his leg.
Must be a rage.
Yeah.
Must have been
did they actually pull any, aside from holes or scars, did they pull any actual broadheads or slugs out of him?
He said 22s, bird shot, and I think he said a slug. He did not pull a broadhead out of him. No, he did not.
So what, the neighbors are just shooting at him?
Man, so where he was tight to some houses, there is a huge state piece that's right there, and got through the years transitioning through there. So I'm thinking some guys during buck week or whatever, they just started slinging some stuff. The 22s and stuff like that, we don't really hunt with 22. I mean, you could do some squirrel hunting with 22 shorts and stuff, but outside of that, there's really nothing in New Jersey you're going to be chasing. So I don't know. I think he just, he pissed off the wrong neighbors a couple times.
Yeah, the neighbors just shooting at him, meleeing drive-bys.
Yeah.
22 is like a bee sting to that bear.
Yeah, he could care less.
Feel it.
He had 9 inches of fat on either side of his body. Yeah. No joke. I stuck my hand in, like, gone.
What the first shot with the bow, was it a pass through?
No, went to the fletching, basically poked out on the far side right underneath his armpit.
Yep.
Did not go all the way through, though.
Yeah.
When he ran, it came back out the way that it went in. He would have definitely died right there. He couldn't get up, and I was 20 yards from staring at him. Right, he could not get up, but there was no reason to let him lay there. So put a second one in him, called it a day within a minute. So definitely the right move. But yeah, I shoot a pretty heavy setup, really heavy setup, and I was shocked that I didn't get a pass through until then you walk up on a 900-pound animal. You're like, okay, I get it.
That's like shooting through 2 bears at once. That's not like shooting through 1 bear. What weight were you using?
I have a 72-pound bow, but my arrow setup is 535 grains.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a pretty good heavy. It's pretty decent.
You're on the high end of the spectrum.
Yeah, it's on the high end.
Fixed or mechanical?
It was a mechanical. I was shooting a 2-inch, and I weighted back and forth when I would do this. I was shooting a Sever 2.0.
Yep.
Sever 2.0. So I was going to go with the 1.5, but I was like, you know what? I'm heavy enough. I need to just get in there. I didn't think I was going to get a full pass through realistically. On a bull elk a couple years ago, I shot the 1.5s and I got an incredible pass through. But it was enough to get in there. I need to cause massive damage. And I figured I was going to be at 22 yards, heavy setup. Let's go. And it did the job. There's no question. Of course. He was pumping blood. There was no way he was going anywhere. But I'm glad I chose that. I'm definitely glad I chose that setup.
Huh. I mean, on a bear, it's you want to have something heavy, I guess, right? Because if you, that's a tough thing, and especially if you shot the little one, the smaller, the 1.5, the 1.5. Would it not have made a big enough? 9 inches of fat. There's a lot of things going on in there.
There's a lot of things going on. The fat plugs up and it doesn't bleed and all kinds of stuff like that. But I had talked to a couple people about it, and they're like, if you were in the 450 or less arrow, then it was kind of a no-brainer to go with the 1.5. And I was like,
looking for a pickup truck to get just about anything done? Look no further. The Chevy Silverado EV isn't just the most powerful Silverado ever, with next-level towing capability and technology. It also offers game-changing versatility with the available multi-flex midgate and tailgate, which means Silverado EV helps you carry large, bulky, and oddly shaped items up to nearly 11 feet in length. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. Visit Chevrolet.com to learn more.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/campaign to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
I'm throwing a hammer. Right. I'm just going to put an edge on a hammer, basically what it was.
You could make the argument the 1.5, you would have got more penetration.
Yep.
The 2-inch gave you more cut, more damage in there. So
I would have took the more cut.
Yeah.
Especially in something like that.
Well, especially with the bears, like you said, not only the 9 inches of fat, but you have all that fur and
their bones are super
dense.
They
bleed. Their blood chills can suck on good shots. You know what I mean? Yours was spilling blood, but I've been on some blood trails and it's like, where's the blood?
Yeah. They plug up.
Plugged up. It's just dripping off of fur. It gets all matted up. So the bigger the hole, the better.
Yeah, man, it worked out great. You can see the picture in the one in the sled. You can see it's got a pretty good gap, pretty good hole in it. But it did the job. So I'm happy.
What did you think about when you kind of walked up on it and this thing is just laying there? That has to be. There's no ground shrinkage. There's no nothing.
No, complete opposite, man. You walk up here, I'm like, Honestly, I was like, oh, I got to make some calls. I got to make a lot of calls. I was like, I had 4 guys on standby, and I was like, oh, man, this is not going to be good. There's no way 4 guys is doing this. And the property owner came out. Actually, when I knocked on the door and where he expired, he came out, and I was like, oh, sir, I just want to let you know I have a black bear down on your property. He's like, oh, yeah, no problem. Go get it. I'm like, not that easy. I was like, I got to bring some guys up. We got to, get this out, and it might take a little bit. He's like, oh, well, it's kind of big. I'm like, it's kind of big. He's like, where is it? I'm like, it's kind of, you got to go around and we'll take a look at it. And he takes a look and he's like, oh, he shot Godzilla. And it's like, it was pretty big. And, it's like, there really isn't words. When I walked out, I was like, wow, that really just happened. That is a monster. Then all my boys showed up and they're like, dude, what did you do? Exactly. They're like, all right, what are we going to do now? So, and then we all looked at it and my one buddy and me, we started working before the other guy showed up. And we literally, like I said, we got in the sled and they started sliding down and my buddies were just pulling up. And they're like, did you guys just move that by yourselves? I'm like, honestly, it wasn't that hard. We were able to roll it with our feet into the sled. Once it got into the sled, gravity did the work. And then later we needed the crew for sure, though.
You're lucky it didn't just take off down the hill on its own and total your truck on the way by.
Well, I'll be honest, if he had died like at the 70-yard mark, because he went up this rock face and it was a rock bluff. If he didn't make it to the top of that, I'd probably still be there trying to get him out. Like it was in no man's land, like horrific on a rock bluff that was just, there was nothing else. You couldn't get down below it. It was just a rock face that he went straight up it. And then he got up to the top of it where there was another house, another property. And that was the saving grace because they were able to come off the backside.
Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah.
And I
got lucky.
You got no local grief from it. No local grief, like,
not really.
Oh, you shot Boo Boo or none of that crazy stuff, really?
Not from that direct area, mainly because they all live with the big bears. They know not. The grief was pretty much from outside of their areas. I know it was. And most of the stuff is, keyboard warriors that have nothing to do with hunting. They're not even, probably half of them weren't even Jersey. The names on the people that were sending me the Facebook messages and Instagram stuff were just ridiculous. The phone calls was a little different. They, hit me with some personal information that they already had and all kinds of crazy stuff. But most of it was just fluff. And I'm like, all right, come to this house, buddy. You're picking the wrong house. I promise.
That's crazy. Because I had a good buddy of mine that we went to Ohio with, and we were down there deer hunting, and we were in, they're parks, right? And you can hunt these, like, it's public land, but there's like parks near. So he ends up shooting this piebald deer, right? And so on the town page for that one town was talking about, oh my God, Hunter shot such a deer. So it was like this big extravagant thing because he shot like the town monarch,
The
like
town pet, yeah.
and everybody so I didn't know if it was the same way, but it seemed as if everybody in town didn't want to deal with the bear. The bear was aggressive. The bear was problems.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. It's a great story. I think it's absolutely awesome. And he was smarter than your average bear.
Exactly. Hey, Boo Boo. You know what? And I've said it, and it sounds like corny every time I say it, but I'll be honest with you. I learned a ton from that bear. I really did. He made me a better hunter. Really honored to chase an animal like that. More than likely, I'll probably never get a chance at something like that again. Maybe I will. We'll see what happens. But he was brilliant. He really was. He beat guys for years. And I just happened to be lucky enough to be in the right spot to put some puzzles together.
Did a lot of guys come forward with like trail cam pictures and stuff that kind of like did any of it like connect the dots, or you already knew all the dots, it didn't really matter?
I knew most of the dots. There was probably one or two that came forward that told me actually why he had jumped a few times, because I didn't know there was someone in that specific area and they had been putting a little bit more pressure than I was aware of. So that connected some dots that I didn't know about, which actually made me feel a little bit better, because there were some times where I was like, I am doing everything right. What is going on right now? And it just tells you can do everything right. You just can't control other people. It's going to happen. Best thing you can do is just buckle down and try and find them again, or change, or you figure out what their new pattern is and move forward. Right. So.
You see that with big deer too, because they're more recognizable, I guess, right? And there's a bigger community of people that are chasing these deer, and like you have a certain deer on camera and you're chasing that deer, and then the deer gets killed by somebody else, and you come forth, and then there's 25 people, and you're like, you're at the local gun club, and you're talking, oh man, somebody shot this deer I've been after, I can't believe it, and he's like, yeah, I've been after it. Here's 15 years of it. Yeah, you know, like
it just happened. That literally happened to me today. I
really
shot a good buck, and it's a pretty noticeable buck, and there was a lot of Instagram videos in the local area of that buck in the summer, and people had known about it, blah blah blah, and all that stuff. And then all of a sudden, like after I got it, everyone's like, "Oh, I had him here. Oh, I had him here. I was after him over here for 2 years. Or I was over here." I was like, "Damn, okay." Like I didn't think I was the only one, but there's guys everywhere.
So that was a deer that you were after.
Yeah, that was a deer we knew about. It wasn't a deer that I had multiple years with. I've had some deer like that. This one was not. I knew about this deer from the summertime. He disappeared. He showed back up, tried to get on his pattern. That deer covered more ground than I've ever seen a deer do ever. Every night, I had 3 cameras in a 3-mile triangle. He'd hit them every night, all 3 of them. Wow. It was crazy. He was covering some serious ground every single night. Some bad spots. He was crossing some big roads, some big highways, and I was like, "Oh, this is not good. This is just really bad." So it worked out in the end. I finally got on him because I knew where the does were, and I figured out by the cameras that he was locked down with a doe. So I just got really tight and got it done. But yeah, a lot of people knew about him. I got a ton of trail cameras sent to me today, pictures sent to him, all in velvet, outside of velvet, all that good stuff. That's great. And it was all positive stuff. But yeah, the community knows, that people understand the situation, and everybody's all out there.
It must be nice to get some good positive feedback after killing something big, huh?
It is. Yep.
Well, Brian, go ahead.
Who's this? Someone just wrote something in here.
Oh, sorry. I missed I didn't have the chat open.
I can't imagine hunting so much that mentioning that shooting a buck today was an afterthought after the main conversation. Oh yeah, Eric. I just shot a giant buck today too, but yeah, whatever.
Eric, so that's Eric's. He owns Waypoint Distillery. You probably, I don't know if you would have it in New Jersey. So it's actually a local it's a local distillery here in Connecticut. They do all kinds of mixed drinks and stuff. We actually do seminars there called Birds and Brews. So we go up there and we drink and share all of our films and all that stuff, all of our raw footage with all the locals before we kick off. It's kind of like our kickoff for spring turkey season. So we get a bunch of people together. We do a seminar, and it's at his place.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
super Eric,
cool.
I appreciate the shout out, man. Yeah, it was a good buck, but yeah, right now, I mean, the good bucks was great, but the bear was special.
The bear was special.
We joke around a lot about the luck of the podcast. Like usually we'll have a guest on, and then like a couple weeks later they shoot something big. But your luck just is really lucky because it's the day of the scheduled podcast.
Love it, man. That's great.
I guess one of my questions was I was going to ask you too after you had shot that buck, but I left it for the podcast. Was where did you get the lucky horseshoe that you sat on? I just
oh man, it's funny because my best friend and his wife, they bust my chops. They know how much work I put into it, and she's a rip. She's just like, oh, so okay, good. So it's still firmly implanted in you. So I was like, love you too, Melissa. But that is a running joke in our group.
That's funny. When you put in hard work, you get A+ scores. I mean, that's just the way that it comes.
It is.
Brian, I got one last question before we cut you loose, man, and that is we want to know what drives you outdoors.
What drives me outdoors? I would think that's a good question. I haven't had that one, but I would say it's a competitive edge that I probably needed to replace when I left playing lacrosse in college. And I didn't have that. I played D1 and it was my life, and it was something, kind of a hole that was missing. And once I got into big game hunting, that I guess that primal chase, that primal puzzle, figuring out constantly that big game that you're going to play with that smart animal is just something I'm addicted to. I love the chase, regardless. I mean, obviously getting the animal is definitely a huge plus, and it's the icing, but it's definitely the whole process. I am absolutely obsessed with it. Love it completely. Love just breaking it down into little pieces, and I love helping other people too. I mean, I put a bunch of guys on some great bears, some good deer, and I love the concept that the outdoors brings us all together. But it is definitely a driving force in me, just trying to learn every day and trying to get a little bit better by chasing these big animals.
And we couldn't agree with you more. We talk about it with football all the time. We all have that competitive edge, and we just have to keep it going, and it's just instilled in us. So I totally get it and understand it, and I think a lot of sportsmen are the same way. Can you tell everybody where they can find you, where they can find Timber Life Outdoors, kind of follow along, kind of read the story, so on and so forth? If there's a special article or something that you've put out.
Absolutely, yeah. So we're on Facebook and Instagram. On Facebook, it's Timber Life Outdoors. That's pretty easy. On Instagram, it's Timber_Life_Outdoors. Again, right now we only have socials up. You'll see some postings. We'll have some stories up. The YouTube channel will be up as soon as it can possibly be up. Everyone keeps hitting me up. When are you putting videos up? What's going on? I promise you, I'll have it up. I'm hoping to have it up within the month. If I can get it up sooner, I will. And it'll be under Timber Life Outdoors. The channel's up there already. You'll be able to see it. I've gotten some subscribers already hitting it, but there's nothing on it. But there will be soon, I promise. And hope you guys join. Hope to bring everybody along.
Thanks, man. We really appreciate you joining us, Brian. It's an incredible story, and I don't think it'll be the last time that we hear from you here on the Outdoor Drive. Looking forward to some of the videos. We'll share them. We'll put the link here below so everyone can check them out. We appreciate you taking the time. I know it's deer hunting season. I know you had a really good time, and it's kind of you punched the tag, so it is what it is at this point. But thanks again for joining us. And for everybody else, you're welcome. And for everyone else, thanks for taking the ride right here on the Outdoor Drive.